standing for Jesus, standing in the gap for family and friends, standing in the gap, one love for all, so we all can make it in. Standing in the gap, standing for Jesus, standing in the gap for family and friends, standing in the gap, one love for all, so we all can make it in. Studying to show ourselves approved, rightly dividing the word of truth, increasing our faith to envision our freedom, so we all can glorify our God.
The deal is that God loved us so much, and He put us in the midst of this world, and He gave us a duty. It's called the Great Commission: spread the gospel. And in order to do that, He doesn't mean to spread the gospel maybe the way they did it 2,000 years ago, or in the places it was done 2,000 years ago. He put you in this world to spread it to the entire world. And in order to do that, you have to understand what's going on in the world. And oh my goodness, there's so much going on.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So we dedicated a portion of our ministry each day to what we call the Gap News. And what that is to keep us updated on current events, what's going on, so we can apply our Christian principles to it. And that has been Marvel's task, and she's been up to the task. And I'm sure she's got something to give to you this week, because things keep happening. Marvel?
Well, you know, you were just talking about evil and the spiritual warfare and everything that's going on. We had a celebration of a new year coming in, and two individuals decided that they wanted to mar that through evil behavior and evil doings. So one person in New Orleans drove a truck through Bourbon Street, where everybody was out partying, and killed, I think they said 14 or 15 people, injured a bunch of people, and then, you know, had bombs and all of this. Another guy in Las Vegas drove up in front of a Trump building and blew up the truck. Now, what's so interesting is that these are both Musk's trucks. And that's what we're calling today's Gap News.
We have new warnings tonight about possible attacks mimicking the deadly driving rampage in New Orleans. And tonight, new surveillance video shows a terrifying moments as New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street tried to escape that speeding pickup truck. And Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is here with the latest developments from the FBI's investigation. Tim?
David, the FBI is telling law enforcement agencies to be on guard. The New Orleans tragedy could inspire copycats.
As the country mourns the deadly terror unleashed in New Orleans, the FBI and Homeland Security warning the nation's 18,000 law enforcement agencies someone may try to mimic the attack. Santa Monica police taking precaution, announcing the city's famous pier and downtown will be heavily patrolled. It comes as new video emerges from the tragedy. New Year's partiers nearly run over on busy Bourbon Street, just moments before the FBI says Shamsud-Din Jabbar rammed his white truck into a crowd, killing 14 people and injuring dozens of others. FBI releasing this new poster with new photos of Jabbar in the city New Year's Day and the image of an ice chest with explosives investigators believe he placed on Bourbon Street but didn't go off. Federal agents in New Orleans believe he acted alone. Jabbar was killed in a shootout with police. The FBI now says the U.S.-born 42-year-old Army veteran drove from Houston to New Orleans New Year's Eve and posted several videos online proclaiming his support for ISIS. An ISIS flag recovered from the back of his truck.
Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers.
So far, ISIS has not claimed responsibility. Court records show in recent years Jabbar was divorced 3 times and struggling financially, paying child support for his 3 kids. The suspect's stepbrother, stunned, speaking out, asking not to show his face.
Maybe he was dealing with some mental health issues that I didn't know about.
The scene of the attack now cleaned up and open. Meantime, we're seeing some of the faces of the 14 people killed. Among them, 18-year-old Nakira Dido, who was set to start nursing school.
I could have sworn she was behind me, but now that I'm doing the math, it's seeming like she ran a different direction. And I turned my head, and it's her in the street.
Tonight, an ongoing and urgent investigation to understand the motive behind this brutal and vicious act of terror.
I've assembled the entire defense and intelligence apparatus of the country.
More than 1,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement officials going full tilt the last 24 hours. Thus far, not finding any other co-conspirators, but still trying to determine if Shamsud-Din Jabbar was radicalized to become an ISIS sympathizer online on his own, or whether he was recruited and handled by an ISIS member directly. File being developed, baffling the mild-mannered real estate agent seen here in a YouTube video.
Good evening. I'm Shamsud-Din Jabbar,
turned cold-blooded killer. Tonight, the FBI exploring 3 phones and 2 laptop computers and pleading for the public's help.
Whether you know Jabbar personally, worked with him, served in the military, or saw him in New Orleans or Texas, we need to talk to you.
Born and raised in Texas, Jabbar spent more than a decade in the military in HR and IT roles, including a stint in Afghanistan. But in recent years had been divorced at least 3 times and was facing financial challenges and a strain of child support for his 3 children. But something snapped. Just hours before the attack, the FBI says Jabbar posted videos to Facebook where he openly discussed killing members of his own family, but apparently deciding that was not a big enough political statement.
He originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers.
Agents swarming this home in Houston where the suspect had reportedly lived. Our Maria Villarreal is there.
This is where law enforcement made entrance into the property. You can see what's left of this mangled gate inside, the very bare minimum of furniture and cooking essentials.
Neighbors calling Jabbar a quiet man who kept to himself.
Is there a connection? The 2 men who carried out the New Year's Day attacks share several striking similarities. Both are Army vets reportedly deployed to the same Army base, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, now known as Fort Liberty. Both chose to act on New Year's Day within hours of each other. Both drove electric trucks, and they rented them from the same car rental app, Turo.
There are so many things that are crisscrossing. These are coincidences that really should cause pause.
If these turned out to be simply similarities, very strange similarities to have.
But today, the FBI says they have yet to find a connection.
At this point, there is no definitive link.
The surprise attacks came after a night of joyous national celebrations welcoming in the new year. Cops have named the Vegas suspect as Matthew Livelsberger, a 37-year-old Green Beret on leave from active duty in Germany. We found this video of Livelsberger and his ex-wife Sarah, a social worker, waiting at an airport for a red-eye flight to New York in 2016.
We're on our way.
Police say Livelsberger drove 12 hours through the night from his home in Colorado Springs to Las Vegas, stopping twice to recharge the truck's battery. The interior of the Tesla Cybertruck is like no other vehicle on the road. You are surrounded by glass, and the steering wheel is rectangular shaped. The monitor here controls everything with a touch screen, and it's pretty comfortable and easy to drive. Cops say that the suspect drove around Vegas for an hour before pulling up outside the Trump International Hotel. New surveillance video released today shows the suspect arriving in Las Vegas and driving up to the hotel. He was parked for just 17 seconds before cops say he detonated the homemade bomb in the trunk. It was made from gas canisters and large fireworks.
This is where the explosives were stored, in the bed of the truck. And because it's built like a tank, the explosion was contained, directing the blast upwards.
Remarkably, the explosion did little damage to the glass lobby of the Trump Hotel. The Cybertruck itself was engulfed in flames, but was left pretty much intact. Tesla boss Elon Musk proudly boasted. The evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for a terrorist attack. So why did he use a Cybertruck? The answer seems obvious.
The idea of getting the Elon Musk signature car and bringing it to the gold Trump sign in Las Vegas, it really suggests he's trying to send a message.
President-elect Trump is reacting to the targeting of his Vegas hotel today. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place.
The FBI continues searching for a motive in the deadly New Year's attack in New Orleans.
14 people were killed, dozens others were injured when a truck just drove right through the crowded Bourbon Street. The FBI is calling this an act of terrorism. The suspected driver was Shamsud-Din Jabbar, an Army veteran from Texas. He was killed in a shootout with police after the attack, making it difficult to pinpoint an exact motive. However, he touted his support for ISIS on social media. He also had an ISIS flag on the truck.
We continue to relentlessly pursue ISIS and other terrorist organizations where they are, and they'll find no safe harbor here.
The FBI believes the man acted alone. President Joe Biden also says so far there is no connection between this attack and that Cybertruck explosion that happened outside of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas.
So, how many coincidences can there be in the similarity between these two events? First of all, I said at the outset, you started off every week. We start off talking about that war between good and evil, the spiritual warfare. And it seems as though Jabbar had something like that in his mind. But he decided to use a Tesla truck. The other guy, Livelsberger, I believe is how you say his name, he decided to use one and pull up in front of Trump's tower. And, here's Elon Musk crowing and bragging about it. You have any thoughts about this whole thing, honey?
I'm pretty reserved about it. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in all those coincidences being, just a coincidence.
Well, they were both deployed to Afghanistan. They were both at Fort Bragg. They were both in the Army. And one of the guys, the Trump Tower guy, was still on active duty. He was just on a break or whatever.
Which is kind of strange. I mean, they'll do the investigation and all that kind of thing. And I just don't feel like all that, in my mind, I don't have all the facts, are just coincidences. One thing I can tell you is that if you were listening to the beginning when I was talking about a spiritual warfare, then hopefully this will make you understand. There's 24/7. Those
24/7.
people 24/7 means it can happen anytime. Anytime. And when you least expect it. So you got to be prayed up. Hopefully those people that were killed were prayed up because they weren't expecting that.
Oh, no, they weren't expecting it.
So you got to stay prayed up. And you don't know where it's going to come from.
That's right. And still be vigilant on top of that.
And when it comes for you, hopefully you'll be ready and prepared.
Yes.
And it says something about our country, too. The direction that we're going with the people. Elon Musk and Trump and ISIS and all that. So just not words. They mean something.
One other thing of it, though, is what is going on with our military that people like that are in it, that are coming out of it. You think about what happened just 4 years ago on January 6th. A lot of those people who stormed the Capitol and beat up on Capitol Police and that sort of thing, they were active and former military people.
Well, don't let it pass that they felt or feel encouraged by what has happened since then. Meaning that a lot of them are going to get pardoned here. We hear, and that deal with the military has been going on for a while, because when you look at these militias that are around, a lot of them are ex-military. And understand too, a lot of times when people get out of the military, they don't get the respect that they feel like they need, and so maybe they become fertile ground for radicalization. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking to see if anybody had any comments from the chat box, and I don't see any comments. You can feel free to put them in later if you want to. But just, I thought, here we're reveling, we're joyful, we're celebrating, and then these two guys that obviously had something going on mentally or emotionally, just use Musk trucks to try to mess up things for people.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, the thing that gets to me a lot of times is, whatever myth there was that all these radicalized people and these terrorists and all that, homegrown terrorists are just white people, is being destroyed. That thought's being destroyed, because this gentleman,
Jabbar.
Yeah, he's an African American, and there's been some others that we've seen who go down this road. So
True that.
This evil, if you want to call it evil, I call it evil, is not discriminating.
No, it doesn't discriminate. One other thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because right away, as soon as it happened, MAGA was all, see, that's our porous borders, and people are coming into this country that are such terrible crooks. And this was our own homegrown crook.
Yeah. He said, made in America.
Lord have mercy.
All righty.
All right, here we
Thank
go.
you for the devil, basically.